Okay, so today we're going to talk about the fourth and final stage in my framework that I've developed to help communities improve mental health and wellbeing through a collaborative cross-sector type approach. Now, this stage is called the momentum stage. And I want to make it clear that while it's the final stage, really this process, you can be going back and dipping in and out of all of the four stages a long time. And as you develop a new wellbeing plan, you'll cycle through these. But really, by this stage, you should have a team of some sort, whether it's big or small, doesn't matter. As I've mentioned before in previous videos, you should have started to develop some initial wins and got a little bit of curiosity and buy-in from your local community and be starting to do just a few simple things to boost mental health and wellbeing across the community. And then you will have also written a draft copy of your wellbeing plan. Now, whether that's a community wellbeing plan or whether it's an organisational wellbeing plan, for example, if you were in a football club or a small organisation, whatever it might be. And then we get to the momentum phase. Now, this phase is really important because it's where you start to get traction for your plan, and it ensures that your plan goes beyond being just a simple document that never gets looked at to something that truly changes, truly creates cultural change across your local area around mental health and wellbeing. Now, when you're in the momentum phase, you really want to get some community involvement and some outside input into your plan. So there's three ways that you can go about doing that. And I'm just going to, for a moment, just briefly share with you the framework for those who may not have seen it before. So if you haven't seen this framework before, you'll see that that momentum phase sits at that final part of the process and allows us to really look at the wellbeing plan, the committee, community input, and getting funding and things like that. I'm going to stop sharing it because I want to talk to you about this one rather than just showing you the document. All right, so as I was saying, there's three ways that you could go about getting this next momentum and this input from the wider community. One, you might look at, if you've got quite a small team, you may want to increase your team now by inviting people who might share your passion and who might be keen to make a difference and who may, now that you've done a little bit of the groundwork, be more encouraged to be part of it. You may, and you may do one, or you might do multiple of these, so don't feel like you have to pick one of these and no others. You might look at creating a stakeholder action team. And what I mean by that is that people across your community or outside your organisation that could be assisting you. So, for example, when I came at this initially from my own community and I was in a school setting, I was looking at local police and local health practitioners who are all dealing with the same demographic of people and probably getting limited traction themselves, but really thinking about who else could be involved, what local businesses, what local sporting and community groups have a role to play in people's mental health and wellbeing. Or you might choose to make an advisory group. That is really important when you're implementing some actions around a specific target group. So, for example, if you had a priority area of men's mental health or working with the Indigenous population, it's very, very important that you get the voice of that group, any group, whichever group it is. We should never be so presumptuous to assume we know what it is like to walk in those people's shoes. We might, through data and through other things, recognise that there's an issue, but it's really important that we get the voice of the people that we're trying to assist. Otherwise, really, our change is not authentic by any means. So when you've decided how you're going to do that, it's about giving those stakeholders a chance to have input into your draft plan. So, for example, you might be able to share the draft with them, get their feedback, tweak things to be more relevant to different groups, and to also see who might like to take a lead, who might already be doing work in that space that could take a lead on some of those projects. And you're going to be able to write that straight into your plan. Now, while this time those people are inputting that way, later on, as you have new issues and you evolve your plan, plan over, in the next couple of years, you will find that they can be the drivers for writing the new plan and for collecting data and those sorts of things, because they will be part of the process. So that's really important. Another thing that needs to be done in this momentum phase is sharing it with local government if it hasn't been done so already. So if you don't already have somebody who's in the local government space involved in your team, which can be both ways, then you definitely want to let local government know about the work that you're doing, because it can be very powerful. I would, with a word of caution, suggest not to. Sometimes local government will want to take this and utilise it as their own, but I would be very cautious about doing that, because I think it often loses momentum. But the involvement of the local government in your process has really great ability to be quite powerful and quite widespread across the community. And last but not least, this is where you employ a dedicated grant writer. 1 million people over will have tried to do grants as part of their role. It never works. I've never known it to work. I think people try their hardest, but the fact of the matter is, when they've got another role to fulfill, it sits on the back burner. And they do the best they can, but it's not that effective. Whereas you can, in a very simple manner, employ a grant writer through a contract on a needs basis, and they can make a huge difference. In one community, I had a group, and they spent $1,000, their very last $1,000, and it doesn't even need to be that much, but they'd had community contributions, and they spent their last $1,000 on a grant writer, and that led to over $700,000 in funds over a few years. So it's really quite significant, the impact that can make when you give that to somebody who is specialised in that role. All right, I'm going to stop there now. That is the last in our series of the focus on what the framework actually involves when we're looking to improve mental health and wellbeing. I am going to be next looking at doing a series on some of the key areas that you can be looking to address within your communities. So please like and subscribe my page or my channel, and you will hear more about that soon. And for now, I will see you later.